So news has come out that Paige is going to be forced to retire from in-ring competition after being injured at a house show. Now, just like with Nikki, I always thought it was stupid for them to continue working house shows after an injury like that, especially when the doctors are telling you that you're taking a big risk just wrestling at all, let alone 5 days a week. It's especially weird considering that how overprotective WWE is about Daniel Bryan ever wrestling again, yet they continue to let wrestlers with serious neck injuries wrestle on the road full time, knowing that the house show schedule only makes things worse. Even as someone who isn't that big of a Paige fan, you have to acknowledge how screwed up the whole situation is. Regardless what you think of just about everything that she did for the last year, you have to have a lot of respect for someone that can turn their life around that fast. This was a real comeback story if there ever was one, and so for her to suffer such a huge setback is really tragic. Now the good thing is, just because she can't wrestle anymore doesn't mean her career is over. There's still plenty of other things that she can do. The fact that she came back with a stable is perfect because now she can naturally transition into becoming a manager. Plus, she'll likely be back on Total Divas, and then she also has that big movie coming out, which might get her a lot of mainstream attention so that she can branch off and do other things outside of wrestling. So it's not like this is the end. So WWE legends the Bella Twins will be making their return at the 25th anniversary of Raw, which is awesome. Apparently they want to come back as a tag team rather than individually, and that's fine. Nikki can't work full time as a singles wrestler anymore, so having her primarily in tag team matches is probably better off for her. Save the one-on-one matches for special occasions. But SmackDown has really been lacking a lot, and the return of the Bellas can do a lot to help turn things around. You look at what happened the last time that Nikki was there. SmackDown always had a good side feud in addition to the title feud, and they haven't had that for months. So that's one thing that the Bellas always bring to the division is more story opportunities. The Bellas add a lot of credibility to the division that can help elevate just about anyone that they work with. Now the Bellas are more than likely going to join the Royal Rumble match, and one dream scenario that could come out of that is maybe they could use this match to set up for that Besties versus Bellas match against Trish and Lita that they've been teasing for a couple years. Or you know what, since Nikki is undefeated at the Royal Rumble, maybe she can just go on to win the whole thing and have another year-long title reign. I think that could help save the division. The Divas Royal Rumble match is going to have 30 entrants, which means we're going to get at least 10 surprise entrants, which is awesome, because there's so many different divas from different periods that they can bring back. Plus, you can have NXT debuts, and even debuts of stars that we've never seen in WWE before. And I feel like that's going to be the make or break for this match, is who the surprise entrants are. Because this can be the greatest match of all time, but if the best surprise entrant that we get is Cameron, then I think the match itself will be labeled as an overall disappointment. So I did say in my last video that Asuka probably should be the winner since it seemed like no one else had any real momentum. But then someone reminded me in the comments about Becky Lynch, which goes to show how badly she's been booked that I almost completely forgot about her even though I mentioned the Horsewoman in that video. But I think that's actually a good alternative. I did say that maybe WWE could give the win to a SmackDown superstar since Asuka is going to get the WrestleMania match with or without the Rumble, and it makes sense to do that with Becky Lynch. That way they can try to revive the momentum that she used to have when she first got drafted. Now, even though we have seen Charlotte versus Becky plenty of times before, at this point, it's probably the biggest match that SmackDown could do. That is, unless they have Nikki win the title from Charlotte, and then we can finally have that Nikki versus Becky match that should have happened last year. That would be my ideal scenario. But there's a lot of rumors about Ronda Rousey possibly debuting at the Rumble. And if that happens, she definitely will be the winner. And in that case, there's two scenarios. Either they will go ahead with that Rousey versus Charlotte match that they were rumoring a while back, which I think is probably the worst match that they can do for Rousey at this point, or Asuka will end up winning the title from Alexa Bliss on Monday, and then we'll get Rousey versus Asuka at WrestleMania, which is probably the most fitting match that they could have for Rousey, aside from maybe a match against Stephanie McMahon. But then it becomes a thing of who do you have go over in that match, especially if they plan on keeping Rousey past WrestleMania. So we'll have to see where that goes. But that just about does it for this week. This has been MTO with the MTO More Reviews saying yada yada yada, blah blah blah.